Would you mind telling me whose brain I did put in?
And you won't be angry?
I will not be angry.
Abby someone.
Abby someone. Abby who?
Abby Normal.
Abby Normal.
I'm almost sure that was the name.
It was the year 20. No, not 2020. It was 1920. And the presidential candidate was Warren G. Harding. Spoilers, he wins. His campaign slogan was very simple: a return to normalcy. Now, what does this mean for them? Well, at 1920, they had just been through World War I. They're just getting over the Spanish flu epidemic. So there was a desire to go back to normalcy. Which brings us to today's lesson. What is normal? Should we even desire normal? Because if you think about it, when they were talking about normalcy back in 1920, yes, sure, there were some people that were doing okay, but there was a lot of disenfranchised people in 1920. If we think things are bad now, the riots we're having in 2020, or we had in 2020, are nothing at all compared to what was taken out upon the African American community in 1921 in Tulsa, and here in Florida in 1923 in Rosewood. Riot doesn't do it justice. So what's normal for you might not be normal for me, so normal is subjective. And I think we have that same kind of feelings that we were hoping that 2021 would be normal for us. But again, what's normal for you? What's normal for me? Who's to judge the difference? Who's to judge what's right and wrong? For a lot of people, normal is very bad. Why go back to that? If you look at pre-2020, there's a lot of things that are normal that aren't good. Acts of terrorism have become normal. That's not good. Deep-seated racism is normal. That's not good. There are plenty of things that shouldn't be normal in our lives. And yet, as society's evolved, we've just kind of accepted that those things are going to happen. And so much so that when people come along and say, hey, here's some truth, they say, well, you're not normal, you're abnormal for thinking that's true. The clip we showed earlier was from Young Frankenstein. Fantastic movie. Where he grabs the Abby Normal brain. The abnormal. That's great. And I would suggest that as Christians, more and more, we are becoming abnormal. We are not part of the narrative of commonplace. And what I think needs to happen, if we're going to look for, hey, we want to return to normalcy, we need to forget all the values that we've taken to get to this part where we think what we were thinking was actually normal. We need to identify what should be normal and move with that. My friends, this should be normal. The readings, the teachings of this book should be normal. We should read this. We should study this. We should learn from this. This should be our guidepost, not what society tells us. We don't need a return to normalcy. We need a return to the Bible. We need a return to Christ. We need to get back to making Him our guiding light and our benchmark in our day-to-day basis. Because even if you are reading this, it doesn't mean you're believing it. We need the acting out of what God tells us to do as to be our benchmark of normal. Otherwise, pop culture is continually shifting what normal looks like. Go back to 1920, 100 years ago. what they thought was normal is not what we think is normal. But at least even for this much, this is 2,000 years of guide markings right here. This goes back even further. These are things that don't change. These are the things that we need to be setting ourselves upon as the way that we move forward in Christ. I would encourage you. Pastor Tim encouraged the congregation on Sunday. Don't know where to start? Start in Matthew. Just start in the book of Matthew. Start reading a chapter a day. It'll take you a month. And I like what Tim said also. Don't read it and then go see what somebody else said about it. Read it yourself. See what's there. Make reading the gospel part of your normal routine. And only then can we strive towards making this world a better place. Have a great week. Go read the book of Matthew.